Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Oh, this is not a good message. I'm sorry, guys, but hey, we're out there to try and inform people. We were the first ones, first channel on YouTube to say to South Africans, prep, prep, prep. And we've been pushing that message. We've been informing you. We've attached documents. If you go and have a look at Coronavirus South Africa and you have a look at all the videos that I have put up, there are a lot of documents attached which have some absolutely critical information that you can download on PDF to your computer and view them in your own time. So we've been very, very active on this whole issue with the coronavirus. We're not a Johnny-come-lately, is what I'm saying. Now, the EFF, this apparently appeared on Twitter just today. And it says, "We urge fighters to boycott all products which were invented by white males with immediate effect." And I have a message for the person who posted that. I concur. All EFF members, stop using anything ever invented or developed by the white person. Now, let's have a look at that message first that appeared on Twitter. Okay, now let's consider the L factor, missing in action, which is what I always say. The L factor, gone, 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 gone. If the fighters were to take this advice, this is what they would have to do. Consider what white males have established or invented in relation to this one post posted on Twitter by this EFF fighter. First of all, the democratic system under which the EFF is formulated. They wouldn't have a political party. Then, the internet, the means by which his message is being transmitted. So, yeah, fighters, stop using the internet, okay? No, it's a product developed by the white man. Twitter, yeah, stop using Twitter, okay? Just stop using Twitter. The device being used to access the internet by this person, well, he's actually breaching his own code. He should be using jungle drums, bumpity 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 bump. See how far that takes you, buddy boy. Anyway, continuing on. The device being used to access the internet. The graphic software to make this post. Now, he's had to use software which has been developed by a white person, and that's what he's developed this little graphic with. Crazy. Let's continue. Electricity required to power the device. Yeah, he wouldn't know that, would he? He wouldn't know that it was a white man who brought the wheel into South Africa as well. Well, you've got to get rid of all your wheels then. All your taxis will have to run on God knows what, maybe the backs of horses again, This is crazy. The English language used in this post, there you are, getting right down to the basics. The actual words he used are developed by a white man. How about the education system which educated this poster to write English? And this is just the start. Now, let's get to the real meat of this. What's happening right now in South Africa is that you've got the coronavirus which is starting to flow through the entire community. I mean, there's no question about that. I don't care what the government or the mainstream media say, it's happening. And I'm going to play you a couple of audio tapes which confirm this. And we'll discuss those after this little intro. Now consider what would happen without the expertise of white males when it comes to the coronavirus. Okay, this is a situation that South Africa is facing right now. You wouldn't have hospitals. You wouldn't have ambulances. You wouldn't have community support groups. You wouldn't be able to identify diseases. You certainly wouldn't have vaccines. You wouldn't have nurses and doctors because they are, in effect, part of the hospital system that the Bantu and Nguni people never ever invented. You wouldn't have respirators, which are required in extreme cases with the coronavirus. And above all, you would not have medicines, including medicines that treat HIV/AIDS, which a large percentage of the black population depend on. All the Bantu and Nguni have brought to medicine is the magic-based witch doctors. Now, if the EFF want to go back to that sort of world, please be my guest. Just go and find a happy little space somewhere in KwaZulu-Natal or right up in the Eastern Cape. Gather there and let's just watch you just disappear off the face of the earth, because that's what will happen. The coronavirus is going to have a huge impact on South Africa, regardless of what the EFF say or do. And most of those impacted are going to be the black population in townships, especially those with diseases like or viruses like HIV and AIDS. Let me play you a tape which is in Afrikaans, but after you've listened to this tape, I will then tell you exactly what this guy is saying. And he's actually translating a tape which will follow, which is given by one of the Zulu nurses in KwaZulu-Natal. Let's just listen to that tape.
Goeienaand, Vaders se Verbondsvolk. Dis Sondag die 8ste Maart 2020, Zulu wat praat. Ek plaas vir julle hierdie boonste stemboodskap wat van 'n saalsuster afkom in Durban in 'n hospitaal, waar sy praat en mense, die swartes, waarsku dat die coronavirus hardloop deur Natal, wat iets vreesliks is. Sy praat dat die dokters weier om die pasiënte na te gaan of hulle te gaan sien, want hulle is bang dat hulle self besmet gaan word. Hulle het vir al die lede in die hospitaal maskers uitgegee en van daai jaste, al die susters en mense van daai oorpakke gegee waarmee hulle nou werk. Daar is van hulle wat gekom het tot by die hospitaal waar hulle vir 8 ure in 'n kamer gesit het en op 'n latere stadium is hulle gesê hulle moet huise toe gaan. Blykbaar is daar niks wat hulle vir hulle kan doen nie. So mense, hierdie ding is besig om totaal en al hand uit te ruk. En ek maan julle, begin julle gesigmaskers dra. Vat vir julle alkohol om julle hande te was, waar julle ook al gaan. Bly uit die dorpe uit, bly uit die malls uit, bly uit die besige plekke uit. Want dit is besig om soos 'n tsunami nou op te vlam in Suid-Afrika. En hierdie regering en hierdie mediese mense in hierdie land is nie reg vir hierdie ding nie. Hulle het nie die nodige toebehore om hierdie ding te stop nie. So, asseblief mense, slaan ag daarop. Ek plaas die stemboodskap wat die saalsuster uitgestuur het, en as daar enige ene is wat betwyfel wat ek sê, gaan luister die ding en kry iemand om dit vir jou te vertaal, sodat jy verstaan dat ek die waarheid praat. Baie dankie, Vader, seën en liefde vir iedereen en elk.
Okay. Now, in that tape, this guy quite clearly, and all the subscribers here who speak Afrikaans can comment and add their points down below. But the major points he's saying is that the coronavirus is in the hospitals and has not been reported. And he's also saying that the doctors are now refusing to come into the hospitals because they fear they're going to get the coronavirus. Now, I would suggest that most white doctors, and I don't think there are many of them left in South Africa, would still go in as a duty of care. I'm going to say no further than that. But they're also saying that the nurses, those who actually still go, have to wear face masks and all this sort of stuff. But the bottom line is that what they're saying is that people who pitch up in the hospital with symptoms of coronavirus, after sitting waiting in a waiting room for 8 hours, breathing out all the viruses to everybody else that's around them, are then told to go home and self-quarantine. In other words, the hospitals are not helping at all. Now, consider the situation of John Ndlovu, who lives in a township near, let's say, Pietermaritzburg. And he goes to the hospital, he thinks he's got the coronavirus. Yes, he's got the coronavirus. And that hospital says to him, you got to go home and self-quarantine. Now, he goes back to the township. He lives in a little shack like these people in the townships do, with 5 other families. How does he self-quarantine? He can't. So guess what happens? Instead of one person being infected, like with the Diamond Princess and now like with the Grand Princess cruise liners, we have individual rooms, but the air, it comes through the air. You can imagine what it's going to do just to John Ndlovu's family and friends who live in that little shack. Let's say there are 20 of them. They all get infected. It's a no-brainer, they're going to get infected. So they go out and they mix with their friends because they're asymptomatic, which means they're showing no signs of the coronavirus, and 20 of them, they'll probably meet 200 or 300 people, and bang, within a few days, you've not just got one person or 20 people, you've now got up to 500 people infected with the coronavirus in that one township. Go 2 weeks further down the line. Those 500 people being sent home if they go to the hospital, self-quarantine. You can imagine how this is going to escalate. Within a couple of months, half of that township will be suffering from the coronavirus, and a large number of those people will have died from the coronavirus because their immune systems through HIV/AIDS is low. It's going to be absolutely catastrophic. This is a nightmare scenario for the ANC government, and they're doing nothing about it except pushing out weasel words and having these little conferences where they're saying, yeah, everything's under control, we got everything under control. This is BS. Absolute BS. Okay, I've had a bit of a rant because I care for my subscribers, and I've told you guys, prep. I hope you've prepped, because I think it's getting too late now. I think you're going to find the shops will be empty, the shelves will start becoming empty, and I think more than that, you'll find that there's a greater and greater danger of you contracting the coronavirus if you go into public spaces. That's a reality. Look, this thing doesn't play around. It spreads like incredibly fast. Look what happened in Italy. Look what happened in Iran. One day they had only one coronavirus. The next day they had 3,025 deaths. It's that friggin' quick. It's in South Africa, guys. It's in South Africa. And unlike places like Italy, you got a medical health system which sucks. I've just told you what happened with that person and that's part of this tape, who went into a hospital and was told to go home and self-quarantine. This is what is going on in South Africa right now, under your very nose. Now, I'm going to play the Zulu version of this. This is where this first audio tape originated from. And it's a nurse in one of the hospitals in Durban talking about how the doctors are walking off the job, how patients are being told to just go and self-quarantine, and people like Fiona Timms, who speak Zulu, please put your comments down below, bullet point exactly what this nurse is saying. Let's get confirmation on this whole thing, because this is incredibly disturbing, and it's what I said would happen 2 months ago now. Nearly 2 months ago. About 1.5 months ago. Remember that live stream I had with Philippe and with Gerard, who lives in China? At that very live stream, we discussed this very point, and that was over 6 weeks ago now. So my subscribers have been given ample time to get ready for something that is about to absolutely devastate South Africa. And you only have to look what's happening to the Rand and the South African stock market, and you can see it's self-evident. All right, guys, here comes the second audio with the lady speaking in Zulu, and I'm hoping some of my subscribers will translate what she says down below in the comments. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video. Please share this video. And above all, please stay safe. Bye for now.
Mama ngikhohle ukuxoxela indaba enkulu, hayi nokuthi ukuxoxela ukunixoxela. Emshiyeni ebusuku besinama patient ane coronavirus. Amaningi. Hayi umuntu oyedwa, sifika thina bekunedumela ngisho supervisor wethu engagodukile esilindile ukuthi advise ukuthi nanka ama swabs alento azosetshenziswa ngoba ukhona oyedwa vele osetholakala usekwi side ward already ngaso sikhathi thina sifika. Lama pass swab ukuthi ke in case kukhona abanye abafikayo odokotela bazofika bazowathatha, okay, emveni kwaloko kuyabuya phela fanele kulokho ethi la kuthina bese siyakupheka kuhambe kuya elento eGoli ka NICD. Ngisho ama messenger asesibhedlela befika bonke abasesibhedlela istaff bafaka ama mask yangizwa. Bayabuya ke manje ama mask banawo bazocela kama lento ama coat ke lawa wethu lama artificial. Cela ukutshela amabhokisi abebe besiqala ukwabona ekhishelwe ngaphandle bahlala e-store room. Mangabe wena uyifuna ungenayo yakhe icoat, uyahamba uye kulo ku storeman akukhiphela usize owodwa lo ufunayo. Sifica amabhokisi awu5 ehleli la nathi reception. Ayafika amanesi ayangena kuyafona ayacelwa ama-coats. Hayi kuthi emveni kwaloko satshethe kuthiwa khona ababekwe MOPD bavalelwe khona bawu6 noma bawu7 yini. Laba ke bazocela amakhothi ke ngoba phela sebeyazi sibahleli nabantu abanelento abanalesifo lapha. Kuthi emveni kwaloko kwahamba laba de bezocela amakhothi afona oyedwa uyiClark bakhala ngokuthi bathi awuJesu siyavzisa ngwalabantu batheme befika bagijima bavalelwa kuthiwa ngabo2 emini. Bakhala ngokuphela kusafanele babenzele ama chat kuyima bebona udokotela. Leso sikhathi o7 kuyoshaya o8 ngiyakutshela abantu beloku bevalelwe emini ngabo2. Baphume bahambe aliphelanga i-hour bafona bathi lalelani abantu badubile ke manje badiniwe baphumile bahambile abakuphi sisa baselovu abanye babo. Uyacabanga bebehambe begibela besuke elovu bemshiyeni basuke emshiyeni futhi sebedubile abasiziwe. Amukho udokotela ofuna ukuyongena kubona, amukho ofuna nempilo yakhe esazabhlungu lesifo wemama. Shuthi ke baze baduba labantu amukho ngisho ngena azobanika ukudla. Bayilwane nje ivalelwe nje lapha. Basitshela nje ukuthi hawu sebesukile abantu bahambile. Sikhulume leyo nto kwaze kwashaya izintathu uthi hayibo ibizwa ngani into enjeni. Thenga bo 4 ekseni kwakhona udokotela ofika ezoprint ama results. Bese siyambuza naye ufika phela uyifakile imask. Athe bakhona asisho story salo lapho ukuthi labo bagcine bedubile bahamba. Emveni kwaloko kwafika owesifazane nomndeni wakhe. lo oqala lo mlungu ndini lona okuyena ekuzwakale ngathi lento isikhona la KZN njengoba wathathwa olaliswa eDington. Uza nomndeni wakhe ke yena ngoba wathi lo mlungu mebuye eItaly wahamba waba nemeeting naye mhlawumbe usesabusho mhlawumbe uyajola naye asazi. Into ebuhlungu kuyenzekile ke mshana sibe befika lawo bantu beqala besho lona befane bathathwe bafake futhi kahle kahle ngoba phela bebengaka diagnose. Umuntu nomuntu ufanele avalele kwi-side ward yakhe eyedwa. Sikhala ngalabantu abawu7 mama. Ongenzeka ukuthi mhlawumbe uyedwa ngempela kubona bebezothi mebecheckwa kuthola thuna lesifo. Bavalelwe from 2 kwaze kwashaya 8-9 baze baduba abantu baphuma bahamba. Ngiyacabanga ukuthi bonke labantu ukuthi njengoba sebephumile already mekhona ngempela ona ngapha bebengakacheckwa. Bonke ke manje sebenabo basabalele labantu emveni kwaloko mangabe sebephumela emphakathini isiyandile. Mabefika ke laba besibili ke lo sisike nabanye kwaphela bebaningi. Kuvele kuthiwa bahambe bayiswe eMOPD bayohlala lapha emabhentshini lawa nathi wonke umuntu ogulayo ufika ahlale kuona lapha. Shuthi ke indaba kufanele kufike laba baka NICD la bese sibabone la ku-TV abagqokiswayo kakhulu ke kuyima ke beyongena odokotela mabeyongena kubona. Kuthiwa bavele bangena bewu5 eMOPD yes bazothatha lama patient ahleli kwi-open space nama patient ayithi idrama enzeke lapha abantu besukuma behayiza bengabaleki kanjena uyangizwa. Ngiyakutshela ke kuthe ngempela ke kodwa ke egcineni kwavela ukuthi ngempela banayo laba phela sebebalanda vele sebebayisa kuphe eDington kwaphela la thina eThekwini eDington eallocate abantu abanjalo. Niyabona guys ukuthi sizofa hayi kunzima shame ikhona ke thina besihleli nayo ke emshiyeni ke nginitshela.